This is a presentation of the Moldy Cheese family of networks.
Hey guys, it's a beautiful day on the Moldy Cheese Basketball Network for a little Utah Jazz 94-95 season replay. This is episode number 4. We just got home from that 5-game road trip that saw us go 2-3 with wins against the Pacers and the 76ers. And in this episode, we've got the Kings at home on the road at the Forum to take on the Lakers. And then the Kings on the road, the Pacers at home, and the New Jersey Nets on the road. Let's start off with a little home game against the Sacramento Kings, who are 5-12. We are 9-8, just barely above 500. And let's get this one underway from the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Early in the first quarter, Jazz holding on to a 4-2 lead. Hornacek holding on the left side. Hornacek back to Stockton around the screen for Ostertag. Looking down the barrel, it rattles home. And the Jazz have a 15-7 lead now midway through the first. Kings have the ball. Sacramento to inbound. Holding over to the right side to Mitch Richmond. He's guarded by Hornacek. Mitch Richmond puts his head down on Horny, goes to the rim, and he scores. 15-9, Jazz with the lead. We move ahead to the second quarter now. Sacramento has taken a 39-34 lead. Here is Stockton around the screen from Big Dog. Back down the lane to Big Dog with the left-handed dunk. Antoine Carr, the original Big Dog. Glenn Robinson came after him. Sacramento 50, Utah 48. Minute 40 to go in the first half. Here is Brian Grant. Brian Grant's going to pull up from the top of the key, missed the shot. It is tapped out. Back to Brian Grant. Brian Grant with another shot. No, rebounded by Brian Russell. Russell will push it down the right side of the court to Stockton. Stockton crosses over. Back to the middle. Stockton to Karl Malone. Karl Malone back out to Hornacek. Hornacek from the angle, and Horny knocks down the three to give the Jazz the lead. 51-50, 1 minute to go in the first half. Stockton with it. Stockton, Karl Malone to set the pick. Stockton around it. Hands to Karl, lay it up with the left hand. Karl Malone going down the lane. Stockton to Malone, we've seen that many times. Jazz lead by 10. Late in the third quarter, 75-65. Howard Isley yo-yoing at the top of the key, guarded there by Mitch Richmond. Karl Malone to set the pick. Hornacek doesn't use it. Down to Karl Malone, who slips the screen. And Malone with the left-handed hammer. Karl Malone. Jazz lead by 12. Early in the fourth quarter, here's Mitch Richmond handing to Hobson. I do not remember Hobson. Hobson holding back to Mitch Richmond from downtown. Shot is good. It's a three. Mitch Richmond trying to keep the Kings in the game, but the Jazz lengthen out the lead to 14, 97-83 with 4:45 to go. Stockton guarded there by Tyus Edney. Over the right side to Hornacek. Hornacek holding back to Stockton. Fall away from the baseline is good. Stockton scores. It's 16-point lead for the Jazz. 101-85. 3:45 to go in the game. Here's Hornacek on the right side. Hornacek around the screen by Ostertag. Back to Stockton. Over to the left side to Brian Russell. Russell pump fakes a few times. Looks back to Karl Malone. Looking down the barrel from the top of the key. The shot's good from 18. And the Jazz lead is up to 16 now. 103-87. 3 minutes to go. Stockton left side to Hornacek. Hornacek holding there. He'll back it out. Hornacek between the legs. Looking down to Karl Malone on the block. Karl Malone back out to Stockton. Stockton shot from the angle is good, and the Jazz stretch their lead out to 19. They go on to win by 20, 110-90. Shoot 53%, and 8 of 20 from downtown. That's a good look from downtown, 40%. Points in the paint, 66-56 in favor of the Jazz. Assists, 31-20 in favor of the Jazz. And we out-rebounded them 43-35 on the defensive side of the glass. Mitch Richmond with 22 points, 5 rebounds. Stockton with 19 points, 2 rebounds. 13 assists for the all-time NBA leader in assists, and 2 steals for Utah. Up next, I believe we're on the road against the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers at 2-15. This is game number 19 of the 94-95 season. We sit at 10-8. The Lakers really struggling, and you'll see why. You won't recognize too many names for the Lakers. They do have Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel here. And that's just about all, really. So there you look at Eddie Jones. We're at the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California. This will bring back many memories for NBA fans of the 80s and 90s. Here's Malone around the screen Stockton around the screen from Malone. He knocks down the three. Jazz lead 29-15 at this point. Lakers have the ball now. Down to Tony Smith, and Tony Smith goes off the glass against Isley. 12-point lead for the Jazz. Here is John Crotty now. We are in the second quarter, 11:40 to go. Just underway here at the Forum. Howard Isley, guarded there by Tony Smith. Around the screen from Benoit, and the lane opens up for Howard Isley to lay it up with the left hand. 31-17 Jazz lead. Now it's an 11-point lead at 36-25. Lakers have it right side. This is Cedric Ceballos. That's a name you'll recognize. Nick Van Exel now guarded by John Crotty. Van Exel around a screen. Back in the corner to Eddie Jones. Back to Van Exel. Shot clock running out. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Van Exel drives, lays it up on Karl Malone and scores. It's a 10-point Jazz lead now as we approach the end of the first half. Stockton holding on the right side. Stockton is going to drop it down to Karl Malone on the right elbow. Karl Malone holding. Malone looking for Brian Russell coming around the screen. Russell from the left angle hits the three. It's 50-37. Jazz with the lead. We're in the third quarter now. Jazz leading by 20, 63-43. Jeff Hornacek drops it to Malone. He'll hand to Brian Russell. Russell down the lane. Lay it up with the right hand. Score it. 65-43 Jazz with the lead. 22-point lead now for Utah. Here's Cedric Ceballos. Quick shot, no. Rebounded by Karl Malone. Outlet to Stockton. Stockton's going to push it down that left wing. Stockton will hold. Wait for a screen from Karl Malone. Stockton. Karl Malone slips the screen down the lane. Right hand off the glass. Stockton to Malone. And the mailman delivers again. 75-51. Jazz holding the lead here. This is Wilson. I don't recall a Wilson. Tony Smith from the right side. Shot no. Rebound tipped up by Karl Malone. Taken by John Crotty. Down the left wing to Howard Isley. Isley will back it out. Throw it up for Karl Malone, and he goes up and gets it. The mailman didn't catch many alley-oops. But there was a few. And they did look like that. 80-51. Jazz with the lead by 29. This is Tony Smith. Step back on Isley. Shot good. Jazz lead now is 103-77. Late in the fourth quarter. Jazz running away with this one on the road at the Forum. Eddie Jones hasn't been much of a factor in this game. Throws it away. Stockton all the way down to Karl Malone, who throws it down off of the still. And the run out. Stockton to Malone. And the Jazz go on to win 118-87 here in game number 19. 72 points in the paint for the Jazz, 44 points in the paint for the Lakers. And 49 defensive rebounds for the Jazz to 30. Out-rebounded them totally. 65-35. So the Jazz absolutely dominate the glass in a 118-87 win over the Lakers. Karl Malone had 46 points, 15 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. And the Lakers really had nobody worthy of player of the game, so we give it to Nick Van Exel, who had 8 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists to go along with 2 turnovers. That might be your worst player of the game that we'll have all season. So game number 20, the Jazz sitting at 11-8 on the road at Arco Arena to take on the Sacramento Kings, who are 5-14, and the Kings get the win, 115-95. I believe this might have been the second day of a back-to-back for the Jazz. They did not come away with the win. Allow the Kings to shoot 54%, 53% from downtown, and the Kings get the win. Game number 21, back home at the Delta Center against the Indiana Pacers, who are 12-7. We sit at 11-9 with the Jazz. I don't have stats from this game. I'm sorry, I didn't get them. Somehow it slipped my mind. But we do get a 103-99 win over Indiana in game number 21 to get back to our winning ways. Now we'll head out for a little Eastern Conference road trip starting at New Jersey, and this will be the final game of this episode. And we'll continue this road trip in the next episode, but we are at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The Nets and the Jazz. Nets lead by 1. Karl Malone with the takeaway. Stockton stops on a dime, shoots the 3. contested. 14-12, Jazz with the lead. Midway through the first quarter, this is Robert Pack for the Nets. Pack back to Kendall Gill. Kendall Gill hands it back to Robert Pack. Kendall Gill from Robert Pack down the left side. And the Nets lead 35-31. John Crotty hands to Isley. Isley backing it out over the left side to Crotty. Isley past a Antoine Carr screen. Still, Crotty is holding. Isley shot with the shot clock going down. Isley, no. Rebounded by David Benoit. And he's going to go back up, score it, count it. He's fouled. David Benoit to the line to shoot one. Try to finish off a three-point play for the Jazz. His free throw is good. Cuts the lead to 1 with 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. Nets lead by 1. This is Jason Williams. Jason Williams holding down to Xavier McDaniel. He's blocked from behind by Carr, gets it back, and misses the layup. Antoine Carr with the rebound, hands it to Crotty. John Crotty right side. He's taking playing time away from Delaney Rudd here. Antoine Carr from the elbow, shot is good. John Crotty's just been playing a little bit better than Delaney Rudd. A little bit more production in the backup point guard spot. Here is Stockton on the right side now. Stockton behind the back dribble. Looking for Russell. Russell back to Stockton. Stockton is going to look down on the block to Ostertag now. Working on Sean Bradley. Back to Brian Russell. Russell down the lane. Jackknife it up and in. Sean Bradley changes his shot, but it does not change the result. Shot goes down. Nets lead by 10 now. Early in the third quarter. Stockton working against Robert Pack. Stockton with the left hand, no. Rebounded by Sean Bradley. Bradley to Robert Pack. Robert Pack across the timeline. Over the right side to Kendall Gill. Down to Xavier McDaniel. Drop step. And X-Man throws it down with two hands. 64-61 now. Nets with the lead. Brian Russell to Stockton. Down on the block to Karl Malone with Jason Williams on his back. Karl Malone holding. Karl Malone back to Russell. Russell shot from the elbow. Extended, and it goes down, and the Nets call a timeout. We're all tied up at 61. Jazz with a bit of a run now. Jazz have the lead by 1. Closing seconds of the third quarter. John Crotty down on the block to the big dog with Sean Bradley on his back. This isn't a great matchup for Big Dog unless he's going to try to take Bradley off the dribble. He doesn't. Gets it back out to Crotty. Crotty around the screen from Foster. Back to Foster on the pop. And the three goes down from Greg Foster. We're all tied up at 84 in the fourth quarter now. This is Tate George. Tate George working against John Crotty. Tate George to his left hand. Nothing there. And he will terminate the dribble over to Sean Bradley. Back to Kendall Gill from the elbow extended. And Kendall Gill rattles in the three. It's 87-84 Nets. 5:10 to go in the fourth. Nets leading by 3, 95-92. Stockton guarded by Robert Pack. Stockton to Hornacek. Hornacek fakes the shot. Guarded by Kendall Gill. Hornacek over to Stockton. Stockton's going to drop it down on the block to Karl Malone. Malone with Williams on his back. Malone right to left, or left to right across the lane with the right hand. Score it. And we are all tied up at 101 now. 36 seconds to go in the game. Stockton holding. Jazz have a chance to take the lead here. Over to Hornacek. Hornacek trying to look down to Stockton, and Bradley steals it. Right side, this is Kerry Kittles. And Kerry Kittles lay it up with the right hand. Score it. It's 103-101 with 22 seconds to go. Jazz call a timeout and advance the ball. Down by 2, 20 seconds. Stockton yo-yoing. Shot clock is turned off. Robert Pack guarding him. Around the screen for Malone. Stockton down the lane. Jackknifes it up and in. Lay it up. 12.8 seconds to go. We are all tied up. And the Nets call a timeout. So New Jersey might get the last shot here. Robert Pack holding, guarded by Stockton. We're down to 8 seconds. Robert Pack, and Stockton's going to use the foul that the Jazz had to give. Maybe should have waited a little bit, but 7.2 on the clock. Nets will inbound from the right side. This is Sean Bradley, back to Pack, over to Xavier McDaniel. 3 on the clock, pump fake. Gets away with a bit of a travel, and he lays it up and in. And the Nets get the win at the buzzer, the end of regulation. It's 105-103. Heartbreaking loss for Utah, 105-103. Xavier McDaniel gets away with a travel and lays it up and in. So the Nets get the win And that is the final game of this episode. 72 points in the paint for New Jersey to 58 for us. 26 fast break points to 17 for the Nets. That's a statistic that we usually win. And 35 assists to 19. So the Nets were sharing the ball better than us as well. Malone finished with 36 and 11. Xavier McDaniel with 25 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal for the New Jersey Nets. So that is the end of this episode. I'm sorry we ran out of time again to look at the standings, but I promise in episode number 5 we'll take a look at both the Eastern and the Western Conference standings here on the Moldy Cheese Basketball Network.